As we mark Women's History Month, we can't ignore a troubling trend. Missing Black women and girls have received a fraction of the news coverage missing white women and girls have nationwide. A study analyzing news coverage found that while Black people make up nearly 40% of all missing persons cases, white women were overrepresented, receiving more than half of the national news coverage, even though they make up less than a third of all missing persons cases. And according to the National Crime Information Center, Black women and girls are more likely to be reported missing. Last year, they accounted for roughly 36% of all females reported missing in this country, even though they make up 15% of all women and girls in America. As journalists here at News 3, we have taken action to address the disparity with our Have You Seen Me series. But as the son of a Suffolk woman who has been missing nearly 30 years tells me, there is still more work to be done. Janice Wright's last words to her 4-year-old son in 1993 live on in the mind of the man Alexander Young has become.
The last thing that she said to me was, I love you and everything's going to be okay.
He was with his mother at a neighborhood party in Suffolk 30 years ago when she left to meet someone in a red car and never returned. You don't think it was your mother's intention to leave you guys and never come back?
No, absolutely not. She just came to me in my dream and was like, hey, don't forget about me, look into this situation for me. So I made it my business to do so.
I see you tearing up, Alexander. I'm so sorry. In the last year, Suffolk police solicited new leads in the mother of four's case, but Young tells me in the past 3 decades, news coverage of his mother's case hasn't gone beyond less than a handful of stories.
Yes, it is frustrating. What about my mom? She was somebody too.
Former Virginia police officer Derica Wilson co-founded the Black and Missing Foundation to help bridge the gap.
Not one person can name a missing Black or brown, male, female, or child that has garnered mainstream media. Not one.
The documented disparity is what inspired the Columbia Journalism Review to launch RUPressworthy.com. The journalists created a tool to predict how much press a missing person would get based off which cases have made headlines in the past.
It says I'm worth 67 news stories. That's a lot.
You are worth 8 news stories is what I'm saying.
I would be worth 9 stories. That is really disheartening.
Kyle Pope with the Columbia Journalism Review hopes their site serves as a wake-up call.
If Black people go missing at double their occurrence in the actual population, which happens to be the case, there should be double the stories. But in fact, it's the opposite.
So what's the root of this problem? One study says a lack of diversity in newsrooms. Another says a lack of diversity in law enforcement. Both can breed bias and blind spots. So we launched our Have You Seen Me series to scour national databases to find local cases that haven't become household names, like Catherine Benet Griffin of Portsmouth.
Lord, did somebody put my daughter in the woods? Did animals get to her? Where is she? What could have happened to her?
Linda Archie's had those questions for 11 years. Her daughter, a mother of 3, vanished from Victory Boulevard in 2012. The local newspaper did a series of stories, but it never gained national attention.
No, she didn't get the coverage that I have seen others get that wasn't of color.
What have these last 11 years been like for you?
I still have moments when like now, man. It's been rough.
A newfound focus on cases like Catherine Griffin and Janice Wright highlight expanded news coverage that's long overdue for women with their hue.
So my overall goal is to be national news coverage.
I have to ask you, do you think that your mom is still alive?
I do not. I would like to do something for the mother who brought me into this world.
A woman who mattered, a person who's press-worthy. And as you know, News 3 has been focusing on missing children and adults in our investigative team series, Have You Seen Me?, including a special program devoted to how these cases are researched and issues surrounding missing people of color. You can find my in-depth coverage up right now at WTKR.com. Just search Have You Seen Me?